I couldn't allow myself to become successful. And that might sound like a really strange statement coming from me, but it's absolutely true, and I have to admit that. Because the reason I couldn't become successful is because I couldn't accept myself. This is why I've shifted all of my work and why I've shifted my focus now to having others become successful by accepting who they are. We are all born to thrive, to succeed, because we are given something. It's God-given, it's within us, and it's something that we're meant to bring to the world that could cause our lives to become better and then also help our world become better as well. And when we don't do that, when we don't honor who we are, we suffer in so many different ways. And I've done that for years, over and over again, simply because I couldn't accept myself. I couldn't accept how I was accomplishing things, and I couldn't tell people because I had this fear of judgment, because I thought no one's going to believe me either, so why bother by telling them who I am or trying to get others to believe me? So I'm just going to be quiet and allow myself to suffer and allow myself to go broke and allow myself all those things because I can't accept who I am and what I was given to bring to the world. And that's what I have to change, because the world is changing. And I will tell you that in 1988, when I was moving through some changes in my life, and I decided I'm going to sit down and meditate and start to receive information however I could, and that was just because I read an article that said that I might be able to do that, and then it started working, and then it frightened me because I didn't understand how it was happening, but I kept it quiet. I hid it from everybody forever because I said no one's going to understand this. And then I created a business that I didn't know how to do. And I had done that before in my life. I couldn't figure out how I was doing it. But the business became incredibly successful. I made so much money doing it, and I didn't know how. And I couldn't tell people, and I couldn't explain it to you because I kept it hidden. And then it changed. And then in 2020, I knew things were changing, and I could no longer do what I was doing. And I gave up everything, because I had a greater mission that I knew I had to do, but it was so challenging because I would then have to talk about it, and somehow I would have to come to a way that I could accept who I was. And it was painful. I spent more than 2 years denying what I had done. And then in 2021, I knew what the world was changing before that because I'd been writing about it, I'd been receiving the information, and then in 2021 I was told from my guides, that's what happened. I'm walking down the street and I hear this in my head. We all hear stuff. We all have intuition. We all have guidance. Sometimes we listen. I've been listening for a really long time. And we don't always believe it. I decided, let me see what's happening, because when I heard, when I was walking down the street, was that I was given everything in 2012. And that seemed like the craziest story ever. And then I went back and I looked at my computer and I saw there was a folder on my computer that I'd never looked at that said 2000, that had all these messages from 2012. I still didn't believe it. I still decided I have to test this because it might just be me. And I had to put a bunch of people in there in a course in December of 2021 to see what was happening, to see if it worked. And they all came out better. They all came out saying how thrilled they were that they have done this. And in just 4 weeks, they were changing. And I'm thinking, how did that happen? Well, it happened because I put in what I'd been doing for more than 35 years. So it changed my life, so why wouldn't it work for them? But it was still this old thing that was my programming that said I could not have done this. I could not have created something like this, and this is the same thing I see in all of my clients. We can't accept who we are, and we grow and evolve as we live our lives, and that happens by the experiences that we've had. I moved through more tragedy, more drama, more difficulties than any person that I know, and the only reason I survived and I'm still here my age now after moving through all those things is because of the way I received information, could interpret it, and then use that information in my life to cause a change, because the change only happens in our minds. That's the only place that it does. But the one change that was the last one for me to get through, which again is why I'm working with people to have them break through this so they don't do what I did, but that last one was me accepting who I was. We've all known and probably know more now that people have the ability to receive information, guidance, cosmic information, spiritual. There are many, many channels out there. And I held a channeling session this morning, which kind of blew me away again, because more information came through and it all made complete sense. And so I'd love for you to hear that as well, and you'll probably understand. But my point now and my mission now, because the world needs everyone to own who they are so that we can change our world. And we know that that works now because we have quantum sciences that tell us that. But each person came into the world with something to offer. It's in your path, it's your divine plan, and as you uncover the blockages that have been standing in your way, then you live that life. I had to uncover all the blockages, and mine are very deep. They're very old, they're generational, like they are for a lot of us, but they were challenging for me to move through because of the programming that I had accepted and then what I continued to do throughout my life. We all do that. But fortunately, because of that, I was able to put together something that can help people move through that. And it's still happening today, and that's what I'm thrilled about. And I'm going to make changes to that, and now I'm going to start becoming successful by doing the right things, getting out of my own way, which is what we all have to do. I had to be willing to be seen in this way because that was different than what I used to do. When I made my big singing business, people thought, wow, that's exactly who he is. But nobody ever knew how I did that, see, because I did it the same way. I didn't know music, I didn't know the voice, I didn't know any of that stuff, but I made a 7-figure business out of it because I received this information. And now what I have to do is give it back to others, because that's going to make our world much, much better. And then I have to allow myself to become successful. And that's why I have to change things in my rates, because I knew a long time ago, and I've talked about it, that I should have been charging 3 times as much as what I have been, or whatever it might have been, because what I have is something that could cause anybody to live a successful life. And there's no amount of money that anyone could pay that would satisfy that need that I could charge. It just isn't there. But what I do know is that I have something that can make a difference in the individual's life, and I know that that will make a difference in our world, and all the insanity and craziness that we might be experiencing would start to change. And I'm not the only one who knows this. I'm just one who was holding back on giving it to everyone else. And so that is why I could not become successful. But now anyone that I work with, you will become successful.